Alrighty. I don't think I could fill the stereotype of white guy with a podcast, smoothie bowl in a kind of foreign-owned cafe in Bali any better if I tried. But this is Anna's episode. I met Anna a few years ago in a very pivotal point in my life when I was learning freediving, quit uni, and all sorts of things. And it's really been really cool to see her journey from definitely not the average, but maybe on the outside, the average backpacker from Latin America or Spain, yoga instructor, kind of that whole deal, just kind of cruising about to now being really successful in the space of breathwork. Really set up shop and became a really big name in Byron Bay, and has taken it further and online and whatnot. I won't get too much into it, but she's a self-proclaimed witch. We talk about ayahuasca, we talk about breathwork and fasting, all her many lives and experiences she's been through and lived, and what she's learnt through that. And there's plenty of stories in there. So yeah, I'll leave it to her to fill in the rest. Without further ado, this is Passion Inquiry with Anna Balbuena. Alrighty. Anna.
Hello.
Hello, hello. Thanks for coming on. Uh, I've been thinking a lot about stuff in my life, and it always goes back to this critical turning point, which is the island.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Yes.
Describe what that experience we had on the island was like.
So that was like a trip that we did. Should I look?
Oh,
Yeah.
wherever.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it was like I felt like we were living in a simulation where how will be society if we rule society?
Okay.
You know?
Yeah.
It was
If
like
us, the hippies, were.
Yeah, honestly, it was like such a hippie environment, but I think like most of the people that were there were also very switch on, educated people coming together, spend time in nature with no technology, with cooperative skills, curiosity for the environment, curiosity for ourselves. I think also all of us were in a turning point in our lives. I think transitional point. So everything could be possible. That's the feeling that I had.
Unlimited potential. So for context, let's paint this picture. 'Cause we're talking about a random hippie utopia. I was 20 years old, 2021, and you, Jack, and two other girls, Jack's friends.
Teriri,
Yeah,
yeah.
Terry and Raina, and then me and Colin. 6 of us, 3 girls, 3 guys, just found ourselves for about 5 days camping on this deserted island in the Great Barrier Reef. It's like 10 kilometers offshore. We'd got you. I mean, you hitchhiked a fishing boat to get there. There was a jungle to hill. There was a radio tower. I mean, you couldn't see them. It wasn't the right season, but there would have been whales migrating.
Yeah, no, it was crazy.
Unlimited colourful seashells on the beach. I always say that I would walk along the beach in the water, and there were turtles so close you could bloody kick them if you wanted to. Just punch them.
So insane. And we were self-sufficient as well because we had Jack who get all the coconuts for us. We were spearfishing there. For context as well, like everybody was vegan there after that trip.
Yeah, all the vegans, and then we're eating speared fish.
Yeah, no, I think like all of a sudden, you're in kind of a survival mode as well because we didn't bring much food with us. I didn't though.
I think we were fasting, so the mushrooms worked better.
Yay! No, it was so special. And honestly, because also was during COVID, I think being there where all the world was immersed in that craziness nonsense, we look around and it was like, this is so perfect.
Yeah.
That also was like kind of a turning point for me in kind of, I don't know how to explain it, but I felt so lucky. I felt like I'm exactly in the place I have to be. And life could be beautiful if we found the places, spaces, and people for, yeah.
Mate, I wish I could give everyone that experience because for me, especially being, as you say, it was a turning point for everyone. It was probably one of the first turning points in my life, though, because I was so young. And I've, in a sense, been ruined by it almost. So it's like, I can't accept anything, you know. That's
Yeah, no.
yeah, it's wild. Okay, so Anna, now you're a very, successful breathwork instructor doing all this crazy stuff, Australia Byron, blah, blah. But you've lived many, many lives. And where does it all begin? What's the first life you lived?
So I guess my life in Spain, like being a teenager, I grew up in a tiny village between Spain and Portugal, 25,000 inhabitants. And I think when I start to become an adult and start to shape my identity, maybe it was in uni. I did uni in Granada, South Spain as well, but 4 hours far away from my house.
Great city, yeah.
Yes, so beautiful. Honestly, best city in Spain. I think there I have the opportunity to be the person I wanted to be, or at least explore without having anybody expecting anything from me.
Okay.
I went alone, so no, my friends were there. My family was 4 hours. So,
who was that person that you became in uni or wanted to be?
I guess I felt like in the village I was a little bit restrained. I didn't know who I was. Like I think not teenager no, but I felt a little bit out in terms of mentality. I was more open-minded, more curious about traveling. I was like a hippie inside me a little bit. And then in this place, I have exposure to other way of living. For example,
I mean, in Granada, you've got the gypsies up in the caves.
yeah. And also Granada is the city with more exchange students in all Europe.
Okay.
So,
okay.
It's crazy because the university have a great deals with other European universities. So, and I was alone. So all of a sudden I can administrate my schedule in the way that I want. And I realized that I use it for good. Some people feel like freedom is an excuse to just get super drunk or explore. I don't know.
It's a lot of alcohol and a lot of casual sex and a lot of...
Yeah, and I use it for other things. I use it for learning. I use it for explore my body differently, for travel more, for know other people. University gave me the opportunity to travel. I did 1 year in UK, like as exchange student. That without uni, I get a grant for doing that. Without a uni, because my family is a middle class family, both are teachers, so I didn't lack in academic opportunities, but I didn't have luxuries. So for me, that opened another range of possibilities.
Okay. Of like just how to use money in the world?
Just not just money, but also I think I didn't have exposure to, for example, entrepreneurship.
Okay. Yeah, that just wasn't a thing in the... I mean, I guess in the village...
In the village, yes, but in my family, no, because my parents were like civil servant, like teachers for the government. So I didn't have like... For me, the future is like, okay, you become a teacher as well. I study education. You work for the government and that's it.
Yeah. What did they do to enrich their lives if the career path they'd chosen was quite stock standard, locked in? Were there other parts of their life where they really explored, or were they just not?
No, my parents, yeah. My parents were very travel a lot of social life. They were involved in ecological causes. They were
So it's like career's locked in, and then I can think of I use all that energy elsewhere.
Yeah, for sure.
That's a fair enough play, hey?
Yeah, I feel so lucky because I felt like in terms of academic knowledge, if they don't know, they give me the tool to figure it out by myself. And also, I grew up in an environment with a lot of love, a lot of support, and where family was like really bound. You know, Spanish family, like strong bound. And also they gave me a lot of freedom in terms of make me believe everything is possible, even if they don't know how.
Yeah, okay, cool.
You
Okay,
know.
so you're taking that through uni, and how is that manifesting into this maybe second life that you're living?
So after uni, I have a super painful breakup.
Okay.
Um,
Painful in what sense?
we were ready to move together. He was from Madrid, so I was,
The big city boy.
yeah. I met him in England, actually. So I was like, well, we finished uni and I moved with you in Madrid. And that summer, he just broke up with me with no explanation. That nowadays I'm very grateful for, because that was my first turning point.
Yeah.
Have
Have you had an explanation since?
I got it 7 years after. But yeah,
We'll note that down for later in the
yeah,
story.
when he broke up with me, I was saving the whole summer working hospitality in a hotel and in a resort for going to Madrid. And all of a sudden, I finished the whole thing with money. I never had money.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, oh, what I do? I was so sad. I wanted to be out of Spain.
Yeah.
And
Get me away from this guy. Like.
Yeah, I was proper distant. And one of my best friends told me, oh, you know, my sister is in a village in Brazil. And it's super cool. Check it out.
Okay.
They have dolphins in the beach. He showed me 2 photos, 2. And I just booked it in.
Brilliant.
3 months. I was like, I'm just going to book it in. I tell my mom after, my family, oh, guys, I go to Brazil in a month. And
if you want a rain jacket, by the way.
yeah, no, it's fine. Yeah. So yeah, I ended up in Brazil that September. I think I overcome the breakup the day I arrived. I was like, whoa, what's this? This is awesome.
I guess because the thing with breakups is that it sounds like you were definitely in this. I usually am. You can't help but build an entire future with a person. And it's like in the future, we're married and we have kids and we have this whole dream life. And when you break up, suddenly that string of potential literally dies.
Yeah.
And it no longer exists. And it's almost like I'm killing, my future wife just is vanished. She's dead. Or your future husband, your future kids don't exist anymore. But if you then find a different world to live in and then you start building other futures, that's the remedy, right?
Yeah, and for me, was so worth it because this is my place. And then I supposed to be 3 months there because, tourist visa in Brazil is 3 months. For me, no possibility of working visa, of a student visa. So when I was there for 2 months or so, I was talking with more Spanish people and people from other places like, oh, Brazil is fine. This was in 2014. It's like, you can stay with no documents. Like everybody here, literally, all the Spanish there, no documents, any of them.
They're just illegally there.
And I was like, yeah, sure, but I need a job. So, yeah, I just went to I just found a job. Went to an interview as a receptionist in a hotel. Lucky for me, because I speak a little bit of Portuguese, but obviously not fluent to be a receptionist. No way. But the guy who ran the thing was Spanish.
Okay.
So I did the interview in Spanish. He asked me, you speak Portuguese? I was like, sure. Sure, I did.
But you grew up on the border, so surely you had...
So I could read Portuguese. Okay. And by that time, 2 months later, I could speak a little bit. But again, for a receptionist,
Yeah, I mean, they're doing everything, right?
Yeah. So I was like, yeah. So I think we get along really well. He hired me straight away. And I was like, wow, I'm fucked now. Because actually, if someone called or if someone sent me an email, most of the bookings were through emails. So what I did was every time someone sent me an email, I resend the email to another hotel. So the hotel replied to me and I did templates of every single possible response.
So you just outsource your receptionist job to some other random receptionist.
And I just changed the numbers and the prices and stuff, yeah.
What?
So I did that.
Mate, that's actually genius.
So I did that for a few months until
But why wouldn't you just Google Translate it? Or was that not a thing?
No, because it's like, you know, with Google Translator, it sounds, you can tell.
I've actually never heard something so smart as that. That is genius.
So I think
Yeah.
when you need it,
I mean, I have heard that was smart.
creativity,
Yeah, yeah.
creativity flourish more. So yeah, I used that method for a few, and I was like catching up, like trying to learn very quickly Portuguese, and then yeah, so I spent like a year working there. And
A question, because Brazil is one of those weird ones, and I haven't been there yet. I'm going in a few months, but it's kind of got this first world element part of it, but then it's obviously got a lot of third world element parts of it. It's kind of halfway in
yeah.
between. How much? Do you mind me asking how much you were getting paid as that job?
So in this job, I was get paid really, really well in comparison with other people. Like per month was like 700 per month.
$700?
No, a euro, US.
So 1,000 Aussie. So that's $30 a day for okay. So that's
And I was really well paid. And I didn't work 40 hours. I worked 30.
Yeah.
So it wasn't full time.
Okay, it's not a lot though.
No, I'm 2014. Now it's way more expensive.
Yeah. Okay.
But I was the rich one among my friends.
So all hippies in this Brazilian village?
No. It's just like I have just one Spanish friend, very close. All the rest of our friends are Brazilian, like locals.
Okay.
So I was getting paid more than locals for sure.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a luxury kind of hotel as well, like a boutique.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, for me, like my life in Brazil was like work, go to surf, drink coconut and eat acai, dance in the night. Again.
Mate, that's epic though.
No,
That's
it was
such a dream.
so beautiful. And I discovered part of my personality that I flourish with the environment there.
Yeah, because that's just so aligned and set up to live this very fun, but fun in a healthy way.
I know, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. I never feel like more healthy. Like amongst all my travel, this one was like, I was exercising every day. I was like having really nice social connections. And
you got over the guy?
Yeah, no, straight away. Like, I tell you this. And
was there another guy who filled his spot?
So at the end of my first year in Brazil, I stayed 2. At the end of the year, 3 months before I left, I met a guy. It was the guy the photo that I showed you before,
Okay.
from Uruguay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So where do we go there? Because that shocked me.
So, when you traveling, the thing is, like, at least for my case, you travel, you meet someone connected, and then I leave. So I was like that. I met someone, have a beautiful story, I leave. Okay, I'm leaving.
You were always the one who was leaving. Yeah.
So when I told this guy, okay, bye.
I'm leaving in 3 months. Like
he was like, no, I go with you. No, I let him know with less notice, like I leaving in 3 weeks or so. Because I decided so quick as well that I was leaving. I was like, I go with you. And I was like, shocked. Nobody never told me that. Sure.
Did you like that, or were you scared
of that? It was different. So no, I was excited. Yeah, and he was like a massive life experience. And I think one of the things that I liked from him was like, I want to live everything that he left. He have lived. So
he'd already lived a life that
he was like traveling for ages and have a lot of life experience, and that's it. So he come back with me to spend a few months. He couldn't stay more than 3 months though. And then after he met my family, we decided to travel again. So we were like Central America together and also come back to Brazil. And after that, after 2 years traveling, I decided to come back to Spain and do my exams to become a teacher to become same like my parents. Very complicated exams. You have to be a year a study because you're competing with a lot of people for very tiny amount of positions.
Yeah.
So he was from Uruguay, so he couldn't stay in Spain more than 3 months in Europe.
And it's hard for them to get.
No, impossible.
Really?
Especially for Latin people back that time, very, very difficult. The immigration was huge, especially from Ecuador and things like that. So
But Uruguay's a good country. Like
eh?
Uruguay's a good one from Latin America. I mean, they're a
Yeah.
pretty safe, secure,
Yeah, no,
stable.
it was really nice. So we decided to get married for him.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense. Because for
Yeah.
context, I was doing my research and I was scrolling through the bottom of your Instagram and I see this thing and it's, you know, when I met you with Jack and now you're with Ryan and it's like, and I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
right.
So
But
yeah.
it wasn't the white gown wedding, yeah.
No. Look, the reason we were a genuine couple.
Mm.
I want him, but no, I didn't want a big wedding or anything like that. Make it. We were married in a library in a Tuesday in the morning. You know, it was like something like that.
So how did that, as a girl, do you want some?
Yeah.
As a girl who like, I mean, most girls, basically every girl, fantasizes this princess and all this stuff. Was part of you sad that if you did eventually properly marry this guy, well, you've already kind of got married, it's not going to be special? How did you actually feel there?
I think I wasn't attached to a craving. I think I'm not a slave of that craving.
Okay.
For me, it was like a pragmatic decision because in that moment of my life, I want to experience my relationship with him in Europe.
Yeah.
And that was the
But
solution.
so you're saying you haven't been
I
wrapped up in the fantasy of a white wedding?
No.
So it was just a logical, easy way to do it?
Especially, I was 24 by that time. I wasn't even thinking in weddings and things like that. No, it's not being a fantasy of mine. I like to share life with someone.
Mm.
And I thrive in relationship as well. I feel like I live enough single. I have a lot of adventures single, so I'm ready now. But back that time was like, I don't know if it's gonna be forever, but I'm helping him, even if it's not working. I will helping him to have a better life in Europe if he decides to move to Europe. So yeah.
Wow. Okay. So how long did it last? How long were you a married couple?
A year, and he cheated on me.
Oh!
But again, we continue married because, you know, once you marry, you have to wait 2 years in order to ask for the residency. At least was like that.
Yeah. I mean, silly question. Why was he cheating? Like, I mean, we'll never know, but...
So he was like, we live in Canary Islands, so we moved there, and I went to the peninsula to do my exams. So he cheating on me when I was doing my exams.
So you were away for a few months or something?
No. I called him the day after my exam because I dream about it. And I asked him, like, I'm a witch. I don't know how, but I am. And then I was like asking him, like, are you cheating on me? Like, I think, because we never have a conversation about other women or jealousy. Never. So in his mind, it's like, somebody told her.
Yeah.
So he told me straight away, yes. Yesterday. And I just hung off like, I have powers, but this is so shit. You know?
That's terrible because simultaneously you're realizing I have superpowers, but also I've just been cheated on. This is the fucking shittest.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So, yeah.
You know when like boyfriends will get in trouble because in the girl's dream he cheated on her and then he has to apologize for cheating on her in the dream? That's quite funny. It was real.
So, yeah, no, it was like so weird. I wait. That was during summer, European summer. So we didn't see each other for this 2-3 months. And after that summer, he told me that he wanted to come back with me. And I told him, like, I actually going to Australia. I booked my flight to Australia first time.
So that's when you go to Australia. Okay, right.
So I think for me, all my important life decision is being driven or by love or lack of love. Or a perception of I was lacking of love, so I gonna do it for myself.
It's interesting you say that because I think we often go wrong and hold back when we're driven by fear.
Yeah.
But if you're driven by wanting love or pushed away from, a bad love experience.
Yeah.
That's kind of a better version. You're almost failing forward into love,
Yeah.
failing, succeeding into love rather than holding back because of fear or...
No, and I think forgiveness was fine because I told him like I forgive you, but I don't want to come back. I want after I betray if someone betrayed me, I don't want to continue the relationship. I can forgive because forgive is good for that people, for that person, and it's for me. And I didn't want to establish the whole relationship.
No,
I didn't want to define the relationship or a mistake of him because the rest of the relationship was good.
yeah. I think what I've experienced myself and seen in others and heard as well is that if something like that happens, a betrayal, you actually can't continue the relationship. What you can do is you can start a new one with the same person.
Yeah,
But it's a
right.
completely new one, you know? Like what you had before is gone.
Yeah. So I think the same. And I think I told him like, no worries, I'm not gonna divorce you. I want you actually like have the residency if you need it.
Yeah, it's so cool. Yeah. And
So
what was the call to Australia? Because the call to Brazil was it's lost, blah, blah. But what was the call to Australia?
I think I wanted to learn English, but not. I hated UK, the weather. Like I hate it so much. I need sun. So, and Australia, nature. I get a grant in uni to go to Australia.
Okay.
I never could go because the grant they pay me afterwards. So I couldn't do he will pay me like 6 months or 4 months later. And I didn't have the money to start myself.
Sure.
So I never did it. So I think Australia was in the back of my mind. And he didn't want to come when I offered him.
The Uruguayan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, that was so it's a good thing. So I'm very grateful because, when things didn't work, there is a reason behind. And I've been really trusting on the universe. Like, this is like a beginning of something. I think from the painful moment, you push yourself to thrive. Sometimes even desperate, like you want to.
And I think because I definitely connect with that idea of you're in the shit, but how do you channel that energy? Because there's a lot of energy to get yourself out of the shit, but you secretly digging yourself further into it.
Yeah.
If you're, even when you went to uni on your own, right? You're in the shit. I'm suddenly on my own. I'm in a big city. Oh my God. But are you going towards bad destructive habits or are you building yourself up in through exercise and sun? Are you going towards, oh my God, maybe I go back to him, maybe I devalue myself, blah, 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 or are you going to find a new path? It's always that choosing the light, choosing the strength.
I think for me, one philosophy of life that I have is I just jump. When I feel I feel bad in myself when I am stagnant. And when you are in pain, you just freeze.
Yep.
So for me, it's like if I will movement, if I have energy to move, I move in my physical reality. And what means for me is like physical exercise and traveling.
Yeah.
For me, moving is like I just jump and I will figure it out once I jump. But and most of the time it's very blindly. I just go completely blind, jump, out of intuition, I don't know, maybe confident in myself as well. Because when you travel a lot, convince your body that you can start fresh.
You realize
many
that
times.
Jump off the cliff and you'll figure out how to fly in the free fall.
Yeah. So I think for me that it's been a huge one.
Do you think, I mean, my mind, maybe we're going I'm trying to take it a bit too meta-academic, but humans historically, before history even started, were quite nomadic and whatnot. Do you think that's actually a natural part of the human condition to need to change your physical environment and quite obviously need to physically exercise, for example, but even travel being a part of that? Have you ever thought that in your travels was seeing nomadic people versus really stationary people a difference there?
I think, I don't know how this will be with men, but as women are cyclical and the seasons are cyclical, I think there is a driven for the body just to move in different directions according to the moment of your life that you experience.
Okay.
And there is part of my life that but I needed a stillness. So I choose a place that is gonna give me that at this place at the moment.
I love it.
I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, I think it's not for everybody though. I feel like I met people that actually they thrive when they are in the same place. I think it's a personality trait. Or maybe my ancestor, because I'm from South Spain as well. Like for sure, I'm gonna have a cultural heritage of nomad and travels for North Africa and all Europe in general. I don't know. I don't know if, but I like to think we are not that I don't gonna be the same person in a year, and I like to merge with the environment. I discover a different personality in every place I go. So I would like to discover their own.
That's a cool way of putting it. It's like you are this infinitely complex, creative being, and quite clearly when you interact with different people in different places, you'll see different sides of that will come to the fore. And therefore you'll influence those places with your stable soul energy, you could say.
Yeah.
But more kind of curious for yourself is that they'll influence you and bring that out in different forms, different colors, different ways.
Yeah, I think it's like a way of not just merging with the environment, but the evolution came from adaptation.
Yeah, and just again.
So I think every time I have to adapt myself, I'm evolving as a human. So it's great.
And leaping into that, because I guess that's what happens when you have a kid or something. Every generation that is evolution,
Yeah.
It's leaping in.
So it's really nice.
Okay, so you landed in. Where did you start in Australia?
In Gold Coast, but I hate it. I hate it so much.
The Gold Coast is such an interesting place.
So I came with a student visa.
Yeah.
My first year. So I contacted an agent, and with the agent, he told me like, "What do you want?" I was a small place in the beach, close to nature.
Why would he choose the Gold Coast?
He chose the Gold Coast. A
small place.
So I remember, look. I had to say, like, by the time, it was to start my yoga, before my yoga journey and stuff, I have like a Spanish full temper. Like, I was like full on fiery person. Still am when I have to, but by that time was like.
So you're more like the average Spanish girl back then before you did yoga and stuff.
Fully Latin backpacker. Yeah.
Latin backpacker, yeah, I like it.
So this agent showed me the school in the middle of surfer paradise. So he drove me in the car.
And for context, if anyone doesn't know what Surfers Paradise is, it's like skyscrapers on the surf beach, and it's just full of bars and backpackers. It's very fun, but maybe not where you want to live.
No. So I arrived there, and he was like so excited, This is it. And I was looking at him, I was like, I'm gonna kill you so bad. I hate this place.
And are you like stuck? How did? Again, this is something that is, I think, such a mystery for any Australian. Anyone who lives in a first world country, or like Britain or America, places where people often come to. What is it? Are you forced into living there for this first year? Like, how does it work?
No, so what I did, because my school was there, the English school, I just live in the suburb in the south. That is more like, Mermaid Beach, Miami, and things like that. Close to the beach, not a skyscraper anymore. It was like tiny houses. And I went in my bike to study.
Yeah.
So I managed the first year like that. I still traveling a lot, go surfing a lot, go nature a lot. So I made it, but Gold Coast wasn't my thing. After 15 months in Australia, I went to New Zealand, I went to Philippines, I was fine. But I left Australia saying like, okay, I'm done with this country. I won't never come back.
But you'd only really experienced and lived in
Sydney, Melbourne.
Oh, so you travelled around?
Yeah, I travelled around, yeah. I was like, no, it's not for me. The culture as well.
What was it? Yeah, so can you dive into that a bit more? What was it that you experienced? Again, it's so hard to see what your culture is and where you live from the outside. I mean, I've grown up as Australian my whole life, so I didn't even know what Australian almost is.
Yeah. I think I was living Spanish life in Australia.
Okay.
And also, I didn't have many chance of interaction with Australian locals because maybe language barrier, maybe because culturally, like, I don't know, I wasn't in the drinking culture much.
Yeah.
The standard scene of Byron Bay, no, of Gold Coast was like party, many people showing off a little bit. It wasn't like that. Like women in general, I couldn't make any Australian women friend.
Why was that?
Because culturally they were into things, at least in the environment that I moved, like, you know, a lot of fakeness. And that is the first layer that you see in Gold Coast. Of course, in Gold Coast, after you can see, like, there is amazing people there. There are amazing people there, but I couldn't access for, I don't know, maybe even my preconceptions as well. I don't know.
I think that makes a lot of sense.
Yes.
So you leave?
Yeah, so I live after being in Brazil and Latin America. When for me it was so easy integrate myself in the culture. Australia was difficult, very difficult. So I left.
To be completely honest, even I feel that. Like even as an Australian, I've spent more of my adult life kind of freely living in Latin America than I have Australia, purely because it's so easy to be part of it and feel like yourself. Where in Australia, you really have to look for other people you can do that with, and then really stand on your own 2 feet.
Yeah,
because it's so easy to just slip into this slipstream of bullshit, I think.
Yeah. And I think I couldn't fake it. I wasn't already in a part of my life that I was I had a strong personality, I think, and I couldn't. And then I come back to Spain, trying, you know, the teacher thing again. I was like, no, I decided there that I can't.
Okay. Why was that?
I couldn't agree with the educational system. When I studied uni, one of my motivation were like helping people with difficulties in risk of social exclusion.
Okay.
And the government don't give a shit.
So there's just nothing in that.
No, it's frustrating. I think for me, it's like, if I continue this, I'm going to be angry.
Yeah. And
all
resentful.
the time, and resentful and helpless. And I was like, I don't want to live like this.
Yeah.
I think I could find another way that made me do more without that feeling. And then I didn't have any idea of what can be.
It is strange that, isn't it? Because I think if you have this idea of how to help the world and you go to the system and you realize that maybe I can struggle in that system and try to, by 0.5% throughout my life, make it slightly better.
Yeah.
But it's just going to take so much from me, and I'm going to, as you say, be negative and resentful through that journey, which then means I actually won't be able to give all my powers to it.
Yeah, that's
because I'll be in survival mode a lot of the time. Or if I focus on something that might not be in the system, so I actually might not help a lot of people.
Yeah.
But it inspires me enough to draw most of me out in a positive way. The people I do reach are really impacted.
Exactly. And I think I didn't have the tools even. I didn't feel powerful enough to change things from my current state. I won't keep educating myself. I need to find more things, more tools. So yeah.
You recognize that you would have been crushed in the system.
Yeah. I was like, this is not sustainable over time, for sure. So I went to India. Other like crazy decision. I was like going from Ayamonte, my hometown, to Granada for an interview. Oh. And in the middle of the, I was driving. And I was reading my diary about my old diary that I forget in a train, and I just pick up because they found it. Yeah, a big story. So I was reading them, and I was reading about my travels. I was like, what the fuck am I doing? I don't want to go to Granada again. I just already. And then I was like, what I want to do. And then I was introduced to yoga the first year in Australia. I was like, I want to learn more about yoga. I don't want to even be a teacher. I just want to know more about the philosophy. That is something that they don't teach. They don't have time in an hour.
No.
So it's like, I booked it in
On that drive?
On the drive, yeah, in a
And
in
did
a
you ever go
restaurant.
to that interview in Granada?
I don't. I just turned around. So I told my mom, I go to India
So
in
you
3
leave,
months.
you leave in the morning and you're like, yeah, Mum, I'm excited for this interview in Granada. Like, I'm going to be a
And I come
teacher,
back
blah, blah,
and
blah.
everyone was like, what are you doing here? I was like, I go to India. And my mom was like, they were separate but living super close. My mom was like, telling my dad, she did it again. So,
That's
yeah,
that quick as
that
well.
quick.
That's mental.
And then,
Has that got quicker over time though, or slower over time?
same.
It's always been. It's
Always been,
been.
yeah, it's been.
So you've never thought maybe I should think about these things a bit more, or maybe at the
No.
start you overthought and then you got quicker
I think I'm very sure about the no,
about the
what I don't want.
or what you don't want. Okay, yeah.
So when I'm not sure, it's still good that the no.
Yeah.
So let's try.
So you're sure about what I don't want, and if I'm heading towards what I don't want, it's quite obviously I need to
That
change
anything
direction.
else is gonna be better.
Okay, so I might as well jump straight away to anything else and see
yeah.
it. And then that
So-
can be a no a bit further down the road.
Yeah. So
Cool.
I just went to India, did my course, and was great. Was one of the best decisions ever because two things. I learned heaps about fasting, detoxification, raw veganism and stuff. And I get introduced to breathwork. My first pranayama classes was actually, I was nose blocked, so I couldn't breathe.
That's right. Yeah.
So my first classes, my first week was taking notes. Then I learned about this, and all of a sudden, the fasting, and all of a sudden I could breathe.
Oh wow.
So I could take classes, and I was like, I get obsessed about it.
So what was this course that you did?
Yoga teacher training.
Oh, so normal yoga teacher.
Yes, but was a guy there that knew about these things.
Mm-hmm.
And, he was healthy, strong. Everything that he said had a lot of sense for me.
Where
So
was this?
in India,
But where in India?
Barkala,
Oh, okay. I don't know.
in Kerala,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Barkala Beach. So it was beautiful, honestly. And when I finished, I was like, okay, yoga. Where I can do this? I was like, oh, in Australia, there's a big culture. In Spain, in the south already, it's not very developed.
Okay.
So it's like, let's go to Australia again.
For business.
So I went to Australia, and I'm very glad that I did because 2 weeks later, COVID hit. So
Okay.
I spent all COVID in Australia, which was the best time for me.
So did you have a plan and outline in your head of I'm going to go to Australia for 3 months and then you got stuck?
No. I asked for a work and holiday visa, so it was 1 year. So my plan was like saving money, start the yoga thing, and keep educating myself.
Yeah.
And because I was researching about breathwork, I get very, very hit for breathwork and pranayama. And the cookies of the computer. I was looking for flights to Australia at the same time that breathwork.
Okay.
So I have a ad on Facebook that says something like Advanced Wim Hof Method Workshop in the Gold Coast.
Okay.
A days before my birthday or something like that. I was like, fuck, I bought the flight. I see, and I contact
that algorithm SEO advertising.
Yeah, I contact with Johannes, that is actually my friend, super close friend and mentor, that the one who teach me almost everything. I contact him on Instagram about, I know it says advanced, but I can go. And he was like, yeah, sure, you're going to love it, blah, blah. I don't want to go alone. So I convinced a lot of friends like, yeah, you should come to this. Just like, I want to go alone.
Yeah.
So yeah, after that, I get obsessed. And then COVID hit. I had plenty of time. So I was like fully into detoxification and fasting.
Yeah.
I get really into it. Then practicing yoga every day.
Did you do something? I met a guy in Guatemala who's now walking across the US barefoot. Have you
yeah, like Anton.
Yeah.
It's Dutch.
Yeah,
he studied with me.
Did he in that Wim Hof thing? Or
no, he studied with me the level 1.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah, you rocked up. I was like, what the hell? Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, so we did the level 1 together.
Nice. So, you said you got really impacted by breathwork and all this detoxification and whatnot. What's the root of that? Why did it hit you so hard?
The chronic sinusitis thing was one. I couldn't breathe through my nose at all. Like
Your whole life?
chronically blocked for 12 years almost.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. The only time when I do like heavy exercise, they will open up.
Okay, because mouth breathing's terrible for you.
It's yeah.
Did you suffer the effects of that?
Yeah, like I didn't know at that time, but I have like changing mood, terrible sleep, tendency to depression, and getting really, really low.
And you can track that as a keystone element in that. Was
I didn't know. When I started to breathe better, I soften a lot.
Okay.
Like a lot. And then the good thing for me, for me it's a good thing. I experience the power of the breath through an adult mind. Because an adult mind, because everyone take it for granted.
Yeah.
And I didn't. So one, I started to breathe properly. For me, was like, wow. So I lived differently after that. Make better decisions, more clarity in general. Like for navigating the detoxification practices that I did afterward, helps a lot breath work because that.
With the detoxification, the breath work is what cleared your nose.
Yeah.
And why would...
And the detoxification as well, both.
Helped, okay. Yeah.
And I also have a cyst in my ovary.
Oh, that doesn't sound good. How do you know you have a cyst in your ovary?
Years before I was the diagnosis.
Okay. What does that mean? Does that mean you can have children?
No. It was like a precancerous thing.
Oh, like pre-cancer?
In my cervix.
Okay.
In my cervix. No, they found it and they told me like they have to make a surgery to remove it, but they have to touch something that could lead to infertility. And I was like, no way.
Yeah, right.
So I forget about it, like I just don't think about it. And then I do the fasting and it got completely gone.
Wow.
After.
There's so much and increasingly coming out. And again, I've been exposed to it before. I've been exposed to it in person through people like you and others in that environment before kind of reading about it on the internet and podcasts. But can you delve into what even is fasting, what detoxification is? It seems like it's either bullshit or it's hippie magic. Like, what's going on?
No, so like the whole point, like very simplified version, is like you are saving energy for processes like digestions. So like the 50% of the body energy that we have during the day is for digestion.
Okay.
So when you reduce that, the energy goes.
So instead of using the energy on digesting food,
you're using for healing.
You're using it for healing. But
and then
doesn't the energy come from the food?
No, the thing is like, it could be. The thing is like when you, for example, fasting, what happens is like you are using the damaged cells for energy. When you are depriving yourself of food energy, the body try to get that energy from other places.
And it's going to start with the damaged cells. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So usually I eat food, that gives me energy, right? And then I use a lot of energy in digesting that, right? So when you fast, suddenly you don't have to use that for digestion, you can use it on healing. But suddenly you don't actually have energy from the food.
It's just... Sorry.
So just like it eats your own fat, it eats all the bad shit first.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, cool.
So I think also like, I was into raw veganism and things like that. And it really worked for when I was living in the jungle. Because we have like access to tree-ripened fruit, organic sources, and a fruit like durian or jackfruit that are very high density nutritional food. But so it was beautiful, and I noticed in my hair, in my skin, in my energy level. For me, it was like, okay, I'm gonna do exercise every day, yoga, asana practice every day. If one day I cannot because I'm too tired or this diet is depriving me, I will stop.
Okay.
That never happened.
Wow. Okay.
It was good.
Yeah, sure.
And then I think I started fasting for physical reason and then for a spiritual reason. And I want to point out here, I always have a really good relationship with food. I never had an eating disorder. So I think people who experience that have to be careful and mindful.
Yeah.
Because it's not safe
Okay.
if you don't do it properly, or if you didn't do it for the right reasons.
Yeah. Yeah, so if it's to look a bit skinnier and stuff, you're probably going to get yourself in trouble. Yeah. Well, every religious text that I know of places big emphasis on fasting as an active way to get spiritual. How does one go around doing a fast? Is there a right and a wrong way, or do you just stop eating?
I think, like, for me, it's important to limit it. So before fasting, I hydrate myself a lot.
Okay.
Either with juices or coconut water is my favorite, because it's just like, it's perfect. It's the way it is, you know.
And is coconut water okay from the supermarket, or does it have to be from coconut?
It's better if it's the coconut, for sure. Yeah. So I will do that the day before.
Okay.
And then I will come fasting whatever days I feel like.
So when you wake up, you have dinner and then you don't eat?
I have dinner or that coconut or a few coconuts during the day, and then I stop eating. So I stop eating during the day.
Yeah.
So then I wake up, maybe 2, 3, 4 days.
That's a long time, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the second and third day for me, when you do water fast, it's really difficult for me.
I don't think I've ever done. I've definitely done 2 days a bunch, but like since then I haven't done any. Because it is difficult. Like, how do you? Especially if you're not a hippie, I think it's easier if you're kind of just prancing around waterfalls. But if you're holding down a job, or
no, like that's all the thing that I learned from make the bad decision. When you fast, you rest. If you are working, don't go, because you want to save energy for healing. You don't want to save energy for using at work. You're gonna deprive yourself. And I did it the bad way. I tried by working, and it's awful.
Yeah.
Awful. No, you just go nature. If you can have that time. If not, you do 1 day per week, or 2 days or 3 days every month, and it's fine. It's just don't need to.
Just maybe don't eat on the Friday and then spend the weekend resting.
Something like that. Yeah, and it's very important how you come out as well.
So how do you come out?
Very light, with a lot of hydration, like maybe fruit. I recommend like maybe fruit, something very easy to digest, nothing of bread or pasta or anything. Meat or anything like that, no.
What happens if you do that?
It's just like the body is like, won't tolerate. It's so heavy. And, greens is also fine, but I will try with fruit first. Yeah. Fruit and then a little bit of greens.
How long is that kind of warm down period where you're coming back into eating? How long does that take? Is it 1 day where I eat fruits in the morning, then I eat vegetables?
It depends on how many days you fast.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for context, a 3-day fast, but maybe how long does it take to get out of it?
1 day and a half.
A day and a half. So I start with fruit, then I maybe go to vegetables, then I maybe go to bread, then I maybe go to meat by the day and a half. Okay, cool.
Yeah. But it's people like, I get, when people want to get introduced, I feel like it's better just to hire someone to accompany you through the process than know more. Because
so is
everybody's
that a thing, a fasting coach?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Are you a fasting coach?
No.
No?
No.
Okay.
I have guide short fasting, but not long fasting. No. Because I didn't experience myself. Like the max I did is almost 6 days.
6 days. What qualifies as a long fast? I think I remember Colin saying he did like a 14-day fast.
Yeah, I think men can do usually it's easy for men to do longer.
Why is that?
I don't know.
Strong.
I don't no. But I guess like they metabolize differently.
Okay.
Yeah. And we are more cyclical as well, so it's very difficult. For example, 10 days, women are experiencing 2 cycles, different cycles. So emotionally, I think it's heavier. But I don't know, so I don't want to say anything that I'm not like specialized in that.
For sure. No, I think it's one of those topics where it makes a lot of sense in my head. It's just it's like procrastinating. It's so easy to procrastinate from not doing a fast because it is so difficult, but also, at least on the surface, so unrewarding.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, especially as a guy, if you're going to the gym and you're trying to get like big muscle, and then you do a fast, you're like, oh, I'm going to lose all the progress, right? And
Yeah.
obviously it's better in the long term, but in the short term, it's almost like a step back,
Yeah.
quite
But it's
literally.
not. It's like you actually teaching your body to be more efficient with less. So when you come out, the quality of your muscle is going to be better
Mm,
and it's going to grow faster. So in every fast, you recover quicker, which is awesome.
it's interesting. So for me, for instance, just living a relatively normal life, what's the game plan? Is it like that 3 days a month? Like that seems like a lot.
I would do like I start with intermittent fasting and then just play with it because it's like everybody's different. So I don't know for a guy specifically, but you try how you feel. For me, for example, second and third are the worst days.
Yeah.
For me, like so bad.
And then
And then the
after,
fourth, all of a sudden, you reach kind of a plateau,
yeah.
which is crazy because it's like you wake up and it's like everything is awesome. I look awesome and life is beautiful. And the day before, you was like you feel so miserable. You feel ugly because everything changed. I don't know.
Do, people have also spoken to me about psychedelic or spiritually kind of sides of fasting, and have you got any experience
Yeah,
there?
yeah. I feel like for meditation, for example, I notice like you sit and you're there. So,
Mm.
usually if I meditate now, it took me 10, 15 minutes to get into the zone. You fasting is just there. There.
Wow,
It's very
I'm
quickly.
just in the present moment.
Yeah, no. It's so, I think because you're so light that you're very porous.
Yeah,
Porous?
porous. Yeah,
Porous. I don't know. I don't know the
energetically
explanation.
porous. Okay,
Yeah.
and sometimes I can get myself in the moods of. It's almost as if I were on psychedelics just because I kind of think myself into it. And I might be like a kid looking at grass and be like, wow, the
Yeah.
wonder of the
Yeah.
universe. Like, is that also easier on fasting or is it harder?
I haven't been that exposed
Okay, cool.
to that. Yeah.
Very interesting fasting.
But
Wow.
yeah, psychedelics went after.
Yeah.
My process with psychedelics, I think, was after my process with fasting as well.
Okay, yeah. One question, because I don't know actually where it sits in this whole time frame. Uh, when did the social media start?
I think when I was doing the fruit raw vegan thing.
Okay. So this is where we're up to, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, I think, yeah.
Like start of COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think just because I was sharing my journey and was very different, people get interest and I get very involved, asking questions, meeting people, asking more questions. But yeah, have a good thing and a bad thing. When I come back to Spain after a year, like I was the fruit girl, which for me sounds funny, but I was like, I do more than, I'm more than the way I
I'm
eat.
more than jackfruit.
Yeah, and for me, was just, as I say, I never considered what I eat was my identity,
Mm.
even if I was posting a lot about that. So was my fault. But I didn't know how that will impact until I see like I was the fruit girl and people just ask me about fasting. It's like, this is just a tiny, it's like some people ask you like, oh, so you wash your teeth every day. How cool. That normal. Like the way I eat was like, just, you know, yeah, no, it was crazy.
Okay, so
So,
it started COVID. You find yourself in Australia. You've done the yoga. You're trying to kind of make it in the yoga world of Australia, is it?
yeah, I had an issue with my English.
Mm.
So I felt very insecure to teach. So I was just practicing and learning breathwork and yoga at the same time.
And were you back in the Gold Coast or?
And
Okay.
then I had an experience with mushroom. I tried mushroom for my first time. And then COVID hit, so I couldn't work. So I signed it for a Vipassana course,
Oh,
for
10-day silent retreat.
10 days
Yeah.
silent retreat meditation. And that was a turning point
Mm.
because I all of a sudden realized that no matter what the external circumstances are going to be fine.
Wait.
That's
Okay. So like, no matter what's going on in anything, anywhere,
I
like,
will find my sense. I will find myself. I will be fine. I can cope with whatever happened.
yeah.
And I was really, really scared about psychedelic before the Vipassana because it's a situation that put me out of control.
Yeah.
And after the Vipassana, somehow a lot of people told me about ayahuasca. Ayahuasca was...
So you did mushrooms before or after the silence
So
retreat?
I did a mushroom before Vipassana, like 2 months or 3 months before.
Did that call you to the silence?
It gave me curiosity about what my body can be. And then my yoga teacher told me about Vipassana. I lost my job during COVID.
Okay.
Temporarily. So I signed up for Vipassana. And after Vipassana, all people were talking about ayahuasca. And I never thought about doing it because I was scared.
Yeah. But you'd heard about it before?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then after Vipassana, I wasn't scared anymore.
Okay.
So,
sorry, real quick. Back in Brazil in 2014, was ayahuasca a thing there?
yeah, but for me it was like
Okay, it
a
was just
no.
completely out of...
I never do drugs in high school or
Yeah.
anything like that.
Sure.
I just alcohol.
Okay. So coming out of 10... Even the Vipassana is kind of how I think about fasting, right? It's like a mental fast. It's like, holy shit, this is something I'm sure will be good, but...
It's awesome.
But, how hard is it?
Yeah,
Fuck.
no, it was hard.
10 days of silence, and you're not even supposed to look at people and shit, right?
No, but
and you're
the
in a
silence
building.
is honestly, the silence is the easiest part.
What's the hard part?
Sit. For me, it was sitting that much hours.
Well, you have to sit really tall, right? And like hurts, and your back's like...
I had a back pain, so bad back pain. Oh, I want to tell you a story about Vipassana. It was crazy. But yeah, so first day, fine. Second day, fine. Third day, fourth day, my back was shit. And I saw a lot of people using like a thing. So in Vipassana, if you want, you can book 5 minutes interview with one of the teachers to talk about struggling. So I went there and I was like, look, my back is so bad. I have a lot of pain. And he told me like, oh, I saw you. Do you practice yoga? And I was like, yeah. And he told like, and you think that you are like willpower? And I was like, fuck yeah. I was like, I don't want to do you. I don't want to give you anything. And I was like, what? And I was like, no, but if you told me that it's gonna be fine in a few days, I do it. No, I'm not telling anything. But I don't wanna give you. And I was like, fuck. And weirdly enough, next day I was fine. And all the thing that happened in Vipassana is like you have a lot of time to think.
No shit.
So I was like, this floor that is made of cement?
Mm-hmm.
That is like have weird shapes, So I was struggling with my back the first day, and I saw the shape of...
Because you're not even in a beautiful place, are you? You're in like a...
No, it's beautiful.
Okay.
Like this room is normal, but then you're in nature, so you can walk around. Okay, cool. Between the sessions, you can go around. So I was looking. I saw. I think the name is Athena, the goddess that is
Wisdom.
a hunter.
No, that's
Artemis. So I saw a shape.
Diana.
In the floor. And for me, it was like, oh, this is the hunter goddess that is going to give me strength. So I got too attached, super attached to that shape.
Yeah.
And every time I sit, I look at it and I get its strength.
Okay.
So in the day 8, I wake up at 12 in the midnight. Crying. I was reviving a past experience like I have with 15 years old. I was panicking.
Wow.
I was like a strong one. So I wake up, I went to the bathroom, come back to my bed. I couldn't sleep. So I did something that you shouldn't do on a Vipassana. I took a book from my bag. You can't download the phone or anything like that. So the only thing I wanted to sleep, I couldn't. I was like, I'm just going to read a chapter or 2. So I take my book, I open this chapter, and the chapter starts with, in the Greek mythology, Artemis. And I closed the book and I was like, somebody's watching. So I had the realization there that maybe past, present, and future, everything is happening at the same time. And because I read that, my past self recognized that shape in the floor.
Okay, because you read the book on day 8.
And that happened.
Time is kind of all happening all at once and connected.
That's why
it was in your mind on day 3 to...
I don't know.
But you hadn't picked up that book beforehand?
No. So weird. So I was finishing a chapter and the next chapter started like that.
Do you think that, I always like to think that when you're in these states, whether it's fasted, psychedelics, silence for a week, you just, as you say, more energetically porous. I really liked that term. You're just able to tune into those frequencies of the weird, wacky mystery
I don't
of
know.
everything.
I thought that, I'm very
Because I'm sure
down to earth person, but I felt like something else.
I think physicists can prove stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like theoretically, time travel exists, for example. But
I don't know. For me, it was like, I forgot. I was like, someone is rushing. I put the book away. I tried to sleep.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So that was like a highlight.
wow.
Because it gave me another perception of universe. And then after Vipassana is when I did ayahuasca. Because I was like, I'm ready, whatever.
Okay, what even, I mean, I haven't done it. I've been in the Amazon. I'll start with this story because I was living in the Amazon for 6 weeks. Pretty deep, and I was 18. And I was with this tribe. I was the third person to ever stay with them. And I just knew that I wasn't ready for that. Again, maybe similar to you. I don't think I'd done any drugs. Maybe I'd tried weed once, right? And suddenly I've heard about ayahuasca. I'm like, probably not. Probably something you want to, ease your way into. But in my last week of staying there, I was teaching English to these kids, which was an interesting process in itself because they hardly spoke Spanish. They spoke the Amazonian language. And anyway, that's neither here nor there. One of these 13-year-old boys was down at the river one afternoon, and all the ladies are washing the clothes, and I'm playing with the kids in the river. And he just suddenly starts clutching his heart and falling to the ground. He's like, Miko, my heart. Like, it's my heart. Like, he's screaming like a crazy person, writhing on the ground, grabbing his heart. What the hell's going on here? One of his cousins or sisters or some girl, 15-year-old girl, runs off, grabs a random leaf, and again, he's writhing on the ground, and she starts flipping him over on his back. She's spitting on him and then whipping him with this branch.
What?
Like she grabs some like gum leaves, right? Whips him with this branch, spins him over again, spits on him. He's like, my heart. I'm like, what the fuck? And then eventually the men of the village come down and they kind of pick him up and drag him off.
Wow.
I was sitting there like, what the fuck? And then I guess I keep on reading my book. I write about it in my diary. 2 hours later, as the sun's setting, I would go, and again, there's only like 40 people in this village. Yeah. So I'd go to one family's hut each day for my 3 meals. Yeah. And then it would just swap and they'd kind of turn me around. So I'm heading to the hut that's feeding me for that day. And all the village is coming my way with this boy who's fainted in between 2 men. So 2 men have kind of holding him up, carrying him down to the boats. And all the other villagers like around him. Oh. And then every 30 seconds or so, he's like coming alive, screaming like in pain, like shrieking, like, fainting from the pain. Whoa. And then waking up again. And again, I just kind of take him off in a boat and he just sends upstream. And I'm to the chief. I'm like, what the fuck was that? And he's like, yeah, Eduardo. I think it was Eduardo. He's obviously having his heart things going on. So we don't have a shaman. We're too small of a village. So we're sending him 40 minutes up the river to the village that has a shaman. He's going to do ayahuasca overnight. He'll be back in the morning. And sure enough, he comes on. He comes back. Right as rain. Never even talked to it. I was like, okay. Because again, it's their medicine, right?
Wow.
And even though I didn't do it myself and I still haven't done it, that was my experience, which is quite a unique one.
It's amazing. No, it's amazing.
So what was your experience?
My experience was like, I contacted several shamans around Northern Rivers and South Queensland. I found this lady from Brazil. I can't say her name for security of her, but she was awesome. So I resonated with what she said.
So, sorry to interrupt, but even the fact that you say I was looking for shamans in southern Queensland is such a funny line. Like, I think most Australians don't think shamans exist. And if they were to see one, they'd probably think they're a crazy person, right?
So the thing is, I have reference of 3 different people. This lady was one of them from Brazil. Her grandma was also doing that, her mom as well. So she came from
And what's she doing here?
She lived here.
But
She
why?
liked it. I don't know.
It seems
She was like, when I have the interview with, she seems like normal person, down to earth.
It's hard not to judge that, isn't it, though?
No, but my previous interview was in Byron Bay with a lady that received me in her house, in a throne. White lady, blue eyes, feathers, Indian clothes. So for me, it seems like she picked all the cultures that she can imagine, put it herself. She was in a throne and I was in the floor.
So funny.
So for me, I tried so hard not to be judgmental, but I couldn't. For me, cultural appropriation for me is a big deal.
Yeah.
So I couldn't. So I tell her no. She get piece of me because it's like she said, like I was wasting her time, blah blah. Anyway, I found this lady. I talked to her. Everything was. I want something simple. Nature is simple. So she gave me good vibes. I did it with her. I'm so glad. So
This was just you two?
No. With more people. We have like our own mattress with a bucket, water, and that's it. And then we sit, they give us the cup. And I remember thinking, fuck. They give you a special diet for 2 weeks or 3 weeks before.
Okay, what was that?
I don't remember because I was raw vegan.
Yeah.
I already have done everything for years, for a year or something like that. So I didn't bother. But yeah, so I took the thing and I remember I regret. I took it and I was like, fuck, there is no way back from this. So she said, like, in half an hour, you will feel notice effects, but for me in 10 minutes.
Because you're so...
In 10 minutes for me, I'm so sensitive.
Yeah.
I was just, fuck, the visuals. I double sober when I was looking around, everyone was fine, except me, and I was like, oh my gosh. But yeah, the first hour and a half were really, really bad because I was resisting.
And what sense other than that resistance?
Vomiting, I couldn't stand up. I felt my sense didn't work. And then I remember, because I heard like, oh, people can puke or they can go to the toilet and they feel better. So I was wanted to go to the toilet. I couldn't talk. So I was staring her like she came and she knew exactly what I want. So she took me to the bathroom, opened the door, and in my mind it's like, I was a kid again.
Yeah.
My mind is like, there is no way that I entered there by myself. So like that, super dependent of like a child. So I dragged her inside and she was just laughing, talking to me in Portuguese like, tranquila, just stay calm, you're gonna be fine, blah, blah. And then I lay down in the mattress trying to survive, honestly. And I felt so much pain. I just want to die. I was like, I just can't. So I let myself die.
Where was that pain coming from? Just this whole experience of...
Cry, like anguish.
Were you thinking of emotions from your life? Or was it literally just...
It was an overwhelming sensation. I was like feeling anguish, but in my brain was like neon life noise. Like, you know that video games noise? Like,
yeah, static. And...
like that. Awful. And then I was like, no, I just want to die. So I just relaxed, let myself die.
Did you think you were actually going to die?
Yeah.
You were like, I fucked up here. I chose the wrong shaman. It was poison. But this is...
No, I didn't think that.
Okay.
I was like, I want to die because I'm suffering so much.
Wow.
And then I just try to just surrender. And I have the flash, the white light that people think like, phew. And then it was amazing. The rest of the hours, I still vomiting now and then because it came from waves. especially if I think in something painful that happened in my life, I will vomit. But it was beautiful. The music was beautiful. Everything was.
So they're playing music?
They were playing music and also
And you can
flute.
hear that still?
So
Because for
one
someone,
of the music,
including me, like I have no idea what you're on about. So like,
no. So
the
for
picture.
me, they were playing music, and I remember to hear a song that was triggering my whole body. I was like, the human body is not prepared for how beautiful is this song. And then after the ceremony, I asked for the playlist, trying to look if I couldn't find it. So it's just that how my body was listening to a song, not what the song was like.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's just the frequencies, maybe, if your whole body's an ear.
I don't know. So weird.
Are you entering different? Because people talk about different worlds or visual. What was going on?
When people says like unlimited consciousness, I read about it a lot, but I didn't know what that means, and I get that. It was like, as I said, everything is possible. All the possibilities are there. In my mind, I was traveling to Spain, I was traveling to Africa, I was traveling to and I was there, physically there, which was crazy. I also came back to the womb of my mom, and I discovered that I was like in the, how do you say when you're born and they put you in a box with lights? Incubator?
Okay, yeah.
I didn't remember. So yeah, I saw that in the trip, but I didn't know because my mom never told me.
Oh, okay.
So I asked her, like, oh, I saw that I come out and then I have this light. And my mom, oh, it should be the incubator.
Wow.
So that's the reason my mom didn't breastfeed me. And so I heal a lot of things with the relationship with my mom as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, I don't know, it was many things. Like a lot of things happening in that hour. I didn't get track of everything.
I imagine that if you are healing these, or maybe not healing them in that moment, but getting such unique and new perspective that it sets the stage for future healing. Because healing is just misunderstanding, right? If you have conflict with someone, it's because you don't understand.
Yeah.
Because if you understood them completely, well, by definition, if you understood them completely, you'd be them.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't want to hurt yourself, right?
Yeah,
So it's
no, it's a beautiful way of saying it.
Yeah, conflict is...
Oh, hello.
Oh, that's the exact kind of dog I want. Yeah, so you might be getting... It sounds like you're getting a lot of fresh understanding of a lot of things.
Yeah.
How did you go about afterwards actually making that tangible healing with, whether it be your mum, whether it be past relationships, whether it be with your own body or yourself?
So one of the things they told us when we finish is like, don't take any rash decision in the next 10 days. Any decisions, like life in the 10 days, because people finish and it's, I'm going to quit my job, I'm going to leave my wife, I'm going to travel this and sell this, that. So everyone has this feeling, and I had it. For me, it was like, I'm going to leave the Gold Coast, and I'm going to go live in nature. For me, it was like so clear.
You're going to live in nature, just wild woman.
For me, honestly, was that. And then I have to wait 10 days for the first time. I couldn't take a decision, so I wait 9, 8, 7, all days. And when I finish, it's like, I'm still thinking the same. I quit my job. Converted my car. Do you remember my car? My Ford Fiesta with the bed.
I don't. No.
Okay, so I camperize a Ford Fiesta.
Yeah, sick.
People told me that I shouldn't do it, but I did it and worked well. And I was like, I'm moving up. I don't know where I'm gonna drive. When I like a place, I will stop. So I drive 24 hours or 25
in a row.
No, I was stopping. Yeah.
That's a long way, isn't
it? A long way.
Australia's so big.
And then when I arrived to, there is a point that's the road is like the jungle or the forest. Above the road. And it says something like, welcome to Australian tropics. And I felt this, like, it's fucking here.
This is it.
So and then it's when I met you. It's like,
so where's that? Is that Mission Beach or is that?
No, a little bit before Mission Beach.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I went to the dentistry. I loved the dentistry, but for work-wise, wasn't intelligent. So I moved back to Port Douglas, and then I started with freediving almost straight away.
Was that with Jack?
I met a friend who I was running class. I started to teach yoga first time in Australia in Port Douglas.
Cool.
Because nobody knows me.
What a
so
cool place Port Douglas is.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So I have class in a studio and also in the park.
Mm.
And to one of my classes in the park, a guy that was into meditation, we became really close friends. And I told him like, oh, my next step with breathwork is learning about freediving because I've been reading this in this book. I want to do freediving. I was like, my best friend is a freediving instructor, and I met Jack.
Okay.
So and then I think in my wave one, I met you. Like after my wave one.
Yeah. Well, we met at Oronaya.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's true. Yeah.
Fucking mental. Okay.
So, yeah, and it's funny because in November last year...
So, do you happen to remember what month you did the ayahuasca?
Yeah, I did it in May.
Okay, and then you drove in June or something?
In June. No, at the end of May.
Or the end of May. Because I went up for the first time. My Ironman in Cairns was the start of June.
Yeah.
The first week of June. And then I started probably living there, July. And I think Oronaya was the end of August.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's crazy because I had a vision in the ayahuasca that I was in the top of a waterfall, naked, strong legs, and in November that year, I was there. I was in the top of the waterfall, naked, strong.
Where was that?
Josephine Falls?
Yeah.
Top bit.
Top of that, where Jack has the tattoo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck, I saw this. I'm living that. It was crazy.
Yeah,
it was crazy. I knew fun, and I fell in love with Australia in far north Queensland. Yeah. That's when I felt like, oh, I belong here. This is kind of nature that make the most of me. And I started my path like teaching yoga. I signed it for my first level 1 from become a breathwork instructor as well. So all that beautiful things happen.
And that's where we started this whole interview, right? Like, I mean, I definitely fell in love with Australia in far north Queensland as well. It's been this journey of, I think, going away so I can come back, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
All right. So where did you eventually did leave far north Queensland? What have you been doing since then? So when we met, this is all that period. And again, it was such a fertile, from you having your experiences and coming to that spot. And then I had my own things and coming to that spot. And everyone, as we said at the start, all these people that were just kind of in the same spot in their life in their own different ways. And from afterwards went in very different directions. But it's very rare that you get, and I think people talk about it like maybe there's a certain house full of flatmates in a year in uni, or whether it is this island in the reef. Like these just moments of life and time that are so special because you just have this perfect
Yeah.
And where did you go afterwards?
So I was planning to go Central America. I'm passing through Spain, but I have a heartbreak.
Is this Jack?
No.
Okay, what's the heartbreak?
No. Yeah. So.
Wait, what's the heartbreak?
Huh?
What's the heartbreak?
I don't want to talk about it.
Okay.
But yeah, it wasn't about the heartbreak.
Okay.
The heartbreaks gave me the opportunity to see all the things in my life that wasn't right.
Okay.
Oh, the thing in my life was that weren't supporting me.
You don't need to reveal stuff, but what are you talking about? So you went to Spain and you had a heartbreak there?
No. I already had. I think I have an illusion.
Yeah.
I have a story in my mind with someone while I was in Australia, but this person was in Australia.
Okay.
So.
So someone you kind of maybe have a deeper, longer term story running in the background with, and that got cut.
Yeah.
Okay.
So didn't work out. So I get trapped in Spain, which my financial situation was bad. Professionally, I had an idea, but I didn't know how to reach it. I was in my 30th birthday as well, so for me it was like
classic.
Crisis, living with my mom after 10 years or 9 years.
So turning 30, broke, depressed,
Yes.
No career prospects at the moment in this place.
I knew what I want, but I didn't know how to get it.
Yeah.
So it was too many things at the same time that I collapsed.
Yeah.
And I just dig a hole.
And that's probably the first time it sounds like that you actually dug a hole rather than jumping into something new.
No, I was completely freeze. I couldn't. So my coping mechanism was like I was in the gym.
Yeah.
It was like so grateful for that because it's just like wake me up. That is what take me out of the bed. And then the website. I know the breathwork thing was a thing, and I want to make it work. So I was like, yeah, let's do it. So little by little, like I will start to create that, and then I start to see the good bits, especially people. I was like so lucky about the people. So I realized in the breakup that I have a lot of love that I was overlooking.
I think that's the thing with a big breakup, and I've certainly experienced that myself semi-recently. It's not to diminish the power and the impact and the specialness of that person, but it's actually not about them.
No, it's not
It's
about
about
them.
the love that you have internally and are ready to project, and they're just the one who received that.
Yeah.
But you're the one who had the love, right? And okay, they're not accepting it now, so I'm where's my love gone, right?
Yeah.
But it's actually internal. And it's like then you can share it to other people and through friends and through businesses and through everything because it's the love you have, and instead of funneling into one person, and realistically, and I don't know if you maybe resonate with this, it's probably because you have so much love and you're trying to put it all into one person that they naturally don't want to hold the responsibility for carrying all this love, right? Whereas maybe if you have it spread and then, okay, this person now can have a third 100%. Of my love. Oh, this is easier to carry. I can carry this.
100%. And now, so I felt that. I 100% felt that. And then I had the opportunity to come back to Australia. And as I was telling you yesterday, for me, coming back to Australia was like, if life gave me the opportunity to come back, I'm going to retribute. I'm going to give all that to people. I'm going to make this.
You're not going to just be the Latin backpacker, take.
No. I never know. I think in my last year, I wasn't like that anymore. But yeah,
You want to be an active participant in this society.
Yeah. And I knew I have the gift to do it. So I moved to Byron Bay and I started with the breath and ice with a friend. All of a sudden, then the retreats and then the workshops and then grow so fast.
I remember seeing this on Instagram and just watch them like 1 minute, 1 minute you're in Spain and blah, blah, and the next minute you suddenly like got all these cameras on you in Byron Bay
it was so
50
big.
People on the beach and like, it's like, what the hell?
Honestly, grows so fast. So fast. I was serious when I say like, if I go back to Australia, I will put all myself there. And beautiful things happened. I spent in Byron Bay was great. Even if I didn't think that would be that great. It was great for community building, for music, for creating the workshop in the way I want to create it, like with live music, with people, like very community based. For me, I think I had the experience of feeling solitude and alone so bad that I don't want anybody had to deal with that. So my events are community based. You have the breathwork part, you have your journey into yourself with something bigger, but you have a community that's gonna support you all the time through the process. That thing doesn't matter what you do for living, what is your gift, but when you make people feel supported, heard, and helped,
it's going to work.
It's going to work.
Because people come for that. Tell themselves they're coming for the breathwork, but they're actually sticking around and continuing to come back.
For that feeling, 100%. And after COVID, I think was even more evident that people need that. People need.
Okay, so Byron Bay. I've only spent about 2 days of my life in Byron Bay, but I think everyone in Australia must have some sort of opinion on this place because holy shit. Where I was in Guatemala, there's, Lake Atitlan, San Marcos, the big town there for New Age spirituality. Then you've got Ubud in Bali, and you've got, a few other places around the world that
Yeah.
you're walking down, and I mean, rugs like this and stuff might look strange in Albury, but in these places, this is like conservative.
Yeah.
Right? So what is it like actually being not just present in Byron Bay, but part of that community cult, call it what you want,
Yeah.
finding success there? Like, how is that?
I think it's a lot of things to talk about in that sense in Byron Bay, but I was, breathwork fit in the spiritual category.
Mm-hmm.
And my approach to breathwork is very grounding as well. As I said before, it's more about connecting. I'm very connecting with nature as well in a very simplistic way.
You're not like, oh my God, let's hug and kiss these trees like I thought it was going to be.
Yeah. I think it's simple. I think we try, when spirituality, people try to intellectualize or using this really difficult terminology to describe spirituality is make it less accessible.
What?
It's making
can you
less.
put some context to that? What?
For example, I've been in circles, in women's circles, when the terminology that they use is a lot of. It's empty for me. Like when you talk about higher self, divine feminine, or
Right,
what that means.
Yeah.
What that really means, because I have a concept of that, but the person next to me is going to have a different concept.
Different definition of it.
So when someone is facilitating like that, for me, creates a barrier because I felt like...
You need to know the lingo. You need to know that person's definition.
Because it's put that person in a pedestal
of...
And I think it's like a very personal journey. So I struggle a little bit with... I struggle with spirituality. Is very egoistic. Egoistic is the word?
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think when you get introduced to that kind of practices, you want to be there so much.
That you kind of look past it.
Yeah, that you look past and you pretend you understand because you want to belong.
Yeah.
And I think it's part of your journey as well. And then you find your own way and you just step away. I know a lot of people that they're very into and then step away a little bit. And then, for example, my friends there are really round, really open mind, really connected with nature, but really round people.
Yeah.
And then you have the other side of Byron Bay, that is the fancy hippie hips. How do you... It's like a posh people pretend to be hippie for a period of life.
Yeah.
Kind of like
I don't
this.
even know how it's called.
But it's
certainly not a cheap place to be.
No, it's not cheap. It's not cheap. For God's sake, it's not. But I think at the end...
How much is rent there?
So I had a really good... I shared with 4 people and I paid $260 per week.
That's not bad, yeah.
It's not bad, but I wasn't in Byron Bay. I was in Mayogum, between Branks and Malambimbi, in a beautiful house. Honestly, my landlord is like very switched on, very honest. But the average is $310 per room.
Per room, yeah. And to be in a small town, like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's kind of what it costs to live in those eastern suburbs in Sydney, like Bondi, Bronte,
No, it's crazy. And it's not good for the workforce. It's not good for the locals. Eventually it will lose the identity of... Because Byron has like beautiful energy, and it was a beautiful point, I think, in the hippie times, like where people get to discover themselves.
Has that moved down the street though?
I think now that is happening more in Malambimbi or Main Arm. Is moving a little bit.
Yeah, sure.
Outside, Gonengary, yeah.
So you wrote this interesting piece on your Instagram a few weeks ago, and I really liked it. It was saying about... I don't remember exactly what it was saying, but maybe you can discuss the relationship between spirituality, but then commercializing that, and then the egoistic level of it, and forgetting about maybe more real world problems, because yes, it's great to be a breathwork instructor, but fuck, if I'm just a single mum struggling to pay rent, I'm never going to find myself in the breathwork pool.
Yeah.
So how does this even help society? As you said, you wanted to help society when you got
Yeah, that's
Australia.
first of all is making relatable and accessible. For me, instead of like when people sell like I went to a workshop in Byron Bay, breathwork workshop, and after you have the catharsis period, and a guy asked the facilitator why I'm feeling like he has the numbing in the hands and everything. That is tetanus, like it's a chemical reaction in your body.
It's what?
It's
Wait, so you do breathwork and you can't feel your hand?
There is kind of a kind of breath work, like the
Okay.
one who wants goes more to the spiritual side, the hyperventilation,
Right.
that you feel numbing in your limbs and hands.
Yep.
And that's it only happens because you are creating a stress response in your body, like a danger scenario. So your body cut the circulation kind of your limbs to maintain it.
To maintain the vital organs, yeah.
That happened a lot, apart from chemistry. I'm simplifying a lot, but when the guy asked him, the instructor says something like, yeah, it's just God get into your body.
God getting into your body, bro.
And for me, it was like, why? What is the need? It's true that you, by a breathwork experience, or even running, doing exercise, hugging a loved one, you can have a connection with God or the universe or whatever. Everything can be a pathway for that. But why you would lie? So I think
or
for
do you
me,
think in his mind, though, he's lying, or that's how he primarily... Because he could... Multiple things can be true. It could be God enters your body, and it can also be the body does the circulation.
yeah, no, but I mean, it's like...
And that's just the first one he goes to, right? But then it's like, if the guy had asked, what's the scientific reason, do you reckon he...
I mean, if you believe in God and in the universe and the energies, God is always going to be inside you.
That's a good point. So you can say the scientific reason, and it doesn't mean that God isn't in your body.
Or that means it always is.
Yeah.
But if...
That's cool.
It's not like, honestly, I don't know, like, I still figure it out what spirituality means for me. And I came from a family that is not religious.
Yeah.
I like, my parents are atheists, and I consider myself very spiritual. I believe in God. I believe in superior intelligence that is connecting us all. I feel like, like we're connecting to each other with the plants, I believe that. But I won't give people the tools so they can explore their own spirituality.
Yeah.
So through movement, through breathwork, there are tools for self-understanding. They are tools for self-inquiry. They are tools that open pathways in your brain so you can create your own relationship.
That's cool. So instead of being that ayahuasca lady in the throne, or instead of saying, yeah, it's just God entering your body,
I'm giving you tools.
Yeah.
And you just use it because you're an adult. And you have your own story, and that I don't know anything. I don't want to tell you how things...
You can get to that answer on your own if that is your answer, but and it might be mine, but it's more important that I, as you say, give the tools, because I think that's where the ego is, right?
Yeah, and I think also capitalize those things. Of course, you have to make a living. I genuinely think that I'm helping people with that. And for example, the single mom that is struggling, maybe she don't came to a breathwork session because she wanna connecting with God. Maybe she came to a breathwork session because she is so overwhelmed by life that she needs to find the center. She needs to reset the nervous system. We have to calm the nervous system so everything can cope with the difficulties of life, so you create more resilience to life. So that's my gift to her. But I need to offer that in a way that is relatable with her.
Yeah.
And the beauty of breathwork for me is like it doesn't differentiate rich, poor, different races,
I mean, we all
ages,
breathe it, right?
genders, you know.
Yeah. So how do you, because it feels like it would be a lot easier to quickly, like a quick cash grab, if you blow yourself up through social media and maybe the Byron Bay community as the holder of this secret knowledge, and I know the answers, and you have to pay me $200, and then I might give them to you. That'd be easier to, like, again, build your ego up and be that to get money. Whereas if you're, well, I know a bit, I can show you some tools that I use, and then you can figure it out. Like, you can go further with that yourself. That's harder to sell.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? In the long term, it's good because you do build that community, you build that trust, and
Yeah.
people can come back each time. But
I think,
how are you playing that game?
first of all, I'm confident about the knowledge that I have of the body processes and how to facilitate, how to integrate, how to be there for people before and after and during.
Yeah.
So
cool.
I'm confident about that.
Nice.
And then what I think is also people came for my energy. So I need to maintain myself authentic. If I don't know something, say, I don't know. If I don't know, I say, I know. And, you know, my English is not great. It's not the best. So in Byron Bay, obviously, there is hundreds of breathwork instructors. So when I moved there, I didn't know if it was a good move to do because the competition in that field is a lot.
Yeah.
So I was when people start to come and repeat. I was like, yeah, they come because they like not just me facilitating. It's just the energy that you create on how you hold
It's
the
not
space.
just that they want breathwork; they want breathwork from you.
Yeah. So that's the thing. I think it's authentic, authenticity, and it's true that at the beginning, you know, when you start to, I'm not good at sales. I mean, I don't know if I'm good at sales, but I don't actively do it.
Yeah.
So, and when I force it in a way that is not aligned with me, felt fake. So I just don't do it. So I just talk about it. I just very enthusiastic. Yeah. So people, when I have a conversation with someone, like they can pick it up that, and they just.
Have you heard? One of my favorite things about business is that you do sales because you don't know how to do marketing.
Yeah.
Right? Because, like, you know, if you can put a billboard or a website up there and ads, like, why would you want to be talking to people all the time, right? But you only do marketing because you don't know how to do the product. Because you wouldn't have to have the billboard and the ads if your product was good enough that people talk about themselves and referrals. So it's like you can just focus on the product. And yes, you might have to have a delay at the start because there's a bit of delayed gratification.
Yeah.
But it's the most true, long-term, powerful version of it anyway.
Yeah. So
as you say, focus on the knowledge, focus on the experience, the value you provide, the connection, the energy, and the other stuff kind of sorts it out.
Yeah.
But if you only focus on maybe all those hundreds of breathwork instructors in Byron have kind of just done a breathwork course and then I'm going to focus on sales and marketing and it doesn't really work and maybe they get clients but they never come back, it's because they haven't focused on the actual meat.
Yeah.
It's like focusing on what's the best salt I can buy on my steak, but not...
And be there for people because I think I was cut out in there. I know my English is not good enough or I don't have enough experience when I started. That because of my insecurities, I'm not helping people. And it's not about me. It's like, Anna, this is not about you.
Yeah.
And I was like, even hold hands for someone and guide it through that gentle flow is going to be a little bit more than don't know anything at all. And, you know, at the beginning, after you have a big session, I have a session that was 120 people in a festival. And then you have session in the clinic, sometimes I have like 4 or 3, you know, and sometimes it get, step backwards. And it's not, it's just it's all the different contexts to help people. And I'm just... in whatever way, and even maybe it's not about breathwork, maybe it's just having a conversation, honest conversation with someone.
The more I look at, because I definitely felt that with my own journey in freediving teaching, and I had a conversation with a guy 2 days ago who was a very similar story to me in freediving, but he was smarter. He did it where he was, like where he lives, so he didn't have to stop. Well, I was like, oh, what am I doing? What am I? But the whole time, it's it just becomes way less about the breath work. It becomes way less about the free diving. And as you say, it just becomes about, can you be authentic? And going back to maybe that decision to not do teaching, you wouldn't have been able, because teaching was not your thing. It's the proof that it's not your thing is because you wouldn't have been able to be authentic. You wouldn't have been able to give 100%. No, it would have been forced if you were holding the kid, the hand of the kid, or doing that extra thing. Whereas in breathwork, for whatever reason, it's aligned with you in such a way that it doesn't feel like a forced effort to go those extra miles.
No.
And I think that's the fundamental kicker. That's the fundamental reason to follow your dreams and passions, because they're the only things that will allow you to actually be authentic and give it your all. And you're guaranteed success, I think, if you actually do that, if you follow that and back that. Whereas if you follow the fear and you force you're going to be forcing yourself into something, and then you're not the truest version of you, and that's not very powerful. Like,
No. And the thing is, for me, is like there is unlimited ways of helping people.
Yeah. I mean, being an accountant, I mean, I know some people who feel as passionate as you do about breathwork in fucking financial planning.
Yeah. No,
so they're guaranteed success, and good on them, because that industry probably pays more.
And I think it's not just even in your professional career. I have that experience. I was in a petrol station. I saw, the flowers that usually they sell in the petrol station.
Sure.
They were like getting rotten.
Yeah.
Not getting rotten, but yeah, like they were not 100% blooming.
Rotten, yeah.
So I was like, wow, imagine to be a flower. Someone cut you and you die in a fucking petrol station. I was like, fucking no way. So I bought everything, all the flowers there. And I gave once to my friend, and was like a girl putting petrol, was like putting petrol in the car. And she was like teary eyes.
Why is that?
I don't know. So I give her a flower. And just I was like, I hope you have a better day, blah, blah. And I just left. That girl contacted me like a few days later on the Instagram, because she recognized me for breathwork stuff, and she told me, wow, like I had an issue with my mom that day, and your act of kindness like helped me to be more kind with my mom.
Yeah.
So we fixed things, after that. So it's not just be good in your job. It's just be good in life in general. And that is going to be a reflection of your job as well.
And I think it's kind of chicken and egg stuff, but if your job, you can't be good in your job for whatever reason, because again, it's not aligned. It's harder to be good in your life.
Yeah, because you're frustrated.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I've definitely felt that, like, even simple things, if you're living an online life because you're forced into it through your job, you're going to want weird little dopamine hits, and you're going to maybe spend that money on some shit food that you wouldn't have otherwise, because you need it to like make life good and stuff. And you're definitely not going to buy some random person flowers and save the flowers who die at a petrol station.
Yeah.
Like, no one who hates their job loves their life so much to do that shit.
Yeah. So, yeah. And honestly, then sometimes you're going to you have to do jobs that you don't like. That is not the perfect job.
No.
And that is what made me, that kind of job helped me to invest in my dream job. And now I'm doing job that maybe is not my favorite. I'm taking care of kids, that I love kids, but it's not breathwork, and it's something that I have to do because it's gonna give me a foundation. So start building again, the foundation is stronger. So it's fine. It's just like you find your moment of bliss, do whatever you doing, I guess.
Sick. And is there anything that's like in the present or the future that pertinent to this story? Like, what's coming up? Where are you at now? So that's a big long journey to go through.
Yeah. So
when you think about your life now, because again, sitting in the present, and you always have only the experiences that you've had. As you say, you want to be a different version of you every year and 10 years. how do you kind of look back and paint that whole journey to yourself these days and maybe project it on into the future?
And trust so much in what is coming is huge and beautiful. And I would like to, career wise, I would love to do more retreats about around the world. I want to be able to teach not just workshop in the context I'm doing now, but also in the mainstream, like schools, sports, maybe helping teams, maybe helping corporate, maybe hospitals, like mainstreams, because I think it has value in everyday life, and it doesn't have to be caged in spiritual communities. This can be used in everything.
Even just giving a firefighter a quick 30-second box breathing technique that means that when he runs into a building, it's like he's going to be more switched on. Like
exactly. And also, like I'm passionate about humans and the human body. So I would like to find. I'm very curious about my own body. So I want to dedicate for years to unlocking more potential. I want to be stronger. I want to be faster. I want to be more switched on. So I know that I have to eat in certain way. I have to speak to myself in certain way. I have the power of the way I touch people, the way I talk to people. I want to improve that so I can. I don't know. I want to use my body more to experience life more intensely. Yeah, I'm curious about it, honestly.
it's like an ethic. Yeah.
I want to be a superhuman.
Without the ego. Without the
ego, no, but it's like
a
that.
Superhuman in service of the subhuman.
No, no, but it's true. It's just freediving was an example of that, of what a potential we have, and we don't have the opportunity to unlock it because we don't know. Like,
it's crazy. I mean, as someone who is always scared of water and sharks and has genetically bad lungs, that journey from literally scared to step in the water that I can't see the bottom and certainly take my feet off the bottom, that's fucked. And like 2 years later, I'm starting a freediving school. Like that is the most empowering shit.
Yeah.
And again, that was the direction I kind of took it in.
Yeah.
It's a cool little life, eh?
Yeah. So I'm excited for what is coming, and yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Anna.
Thank you. Thank you. So nice to see you again.
Likewise. Alrighty. I can smell this. I think it's this rug is like bringing me back such memories.